Well, howdy. It is the end of day. I got to tell you, that makes this rough. Live stream, and I jump over here right after the bell, and regardless of what just happened, I got to act like it's all okay and just keep on going. And what just happened wasn't okay. I just got hit hard by the queue. She fell at the end of the day, and I was hoping for a rabbit to come out of the hat. Didn't happen, and I lost over $400 at the end of the day. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, got to take the bad with the good and learn from it. Quit looking for rabbits. That's a lesson here, isn't it? Great to have you here, folks. I'm John Zidar, aka the Wizzy Stock Wizard. What we're doing right now is looking at some penny stocks that you, the viewers, have brought to me. And I know which viewers they are. It's my homies. We got Belmore and Mark Ryan and the Underdog and Dino Trades. Boom, 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 boom. I can count on you guys every single week. Without you, I probably wouldn't have a show. Should probably put you on the payroll. Well, I don't even get paid. So get in line. So I've got your stocks lined up. We are remembering that Belmore is looking at a warrant. Now, of course, the warrant is attached to the company. So whatever's going on with the company is what we're really looking at. But she wants to look at the chart for the warrant. So we got to remember that. We got to remember that. Mark Ryan wants to look at EYEN. We have looked at this before, but we're going to look at it again because it's doing pretty decent. Fitty, we're going to look at Fitty. We looked at Fitty before too. I don't know how long ago. It's hard for me to remember. They kind of all, I could have looked at a stock a year ago and it just seems like a couple months. But to be honest, the due diligence I've done today for the stocks you guys have given me, I'm kind of blank. It's like I'm doing so much at Penny Boys and I'm trading, really concentrating on that. And I am doing DD for this. Something gets blocked out. You know, it's like driving 20 miles go by and it's like, how the hell did we get here? That's kind of the way the day went until the end of the day. And oh God. All right. I got everything lined up. We are ready to go. I appreciate all of you being here. Jason Davis, Market Mayhem, Ravi Horishan. Did I say that right? Don't blame me. We've got a couple tickers here at the end that I haven't got any due diligence on. So hopefully we'll have time to get to them if I don't talk too much. I've got 4 of them lined up right now. And if I really cut it short, we can squeeze in 8. We've done that before, but I think I had Taylor helping me back then, to be honest. All right, let's jump on into this then. All I got to do is remember to hit all the buttons. Yeah, we're dear. Yes, and I've got a spare computer over here. So I can see, because once I leave, I can't see what you guys see right now looking at my computer. But I got a second one over here so I can verify you can see what I see. That's been the problem before. We don't want that to happen again. Okay, I am looking at the stock right now. Let's jump over to the warrant. Most warrants are the ticker itself with just a W at the end. Could be a /WS, but there are a lot of variations. It could be WW, it can be EW, and not all W's on the end show it's a warrant. There's lots of tickers that have W's on the ends. But when you're looking at your scanner, it'll always say warrant and have a date next to the name. So if you bring up a scanner from say 001 up to $5, all the warrants, if you open up the name of the companies, look for any numbers. Those dates, every single one of those dates are warrants. And you can find warrants real quick just by looking at the dates. So let's see what we've got here. This did come to us by Belmore. We are looking at the warrants. This company is focused on developing, manufacturing, and marketing cosmetic skincare and hair care products. The company's stock had strong daily volume, really low float. They got a low float because they just did a reverse stock split on the 12th. It was a 1 in 30. They did that to not only meet up with the price, the minimum bid price, but they're in the midst of a merger right now. And something with their shares had to be right to make this merger happen. And right now we are getting the approval from the NASDAQ for that merger. And the filings are all based on the news, which we're going to look at, the financials, which we're going to look at, and the merger, which we're going to look at. So XAGE is the ticker. We're looking at the warrant. All the information comes up over here except for the share count. That is wrong. Now, speaking about share count, when you're trading warrants, there isn't a float to really consider. I mean, there is a set number of warrants, but they don't tell you. You can find out if you dive into the financials and stuff, but it's not easy. So I really don't know how many warrants there are, and I never really do worry about it. What I do worry about when trading warrants is their expiration date. You want to know the last day that they're good, because if they're going to expire in a couple months, nobody's going to want them. So you don't want to get trapped in them. But I trade warrants in and out if I can. To be honest, though, right now I'm holding about $1,000 worth of warrants. That's like 5 different warrants at about $250 each, which gets me anywhere from 3,000 to 20,000 warrants for each one. And they're at 2-3 cents a piece. I expect these warrants to jump hard when the stocks go from $2 to $4 up to $16 to $18. My warrants will go up to 10 cents, 30 cents from 2 cents, right? Could make a lot of money on them for a little investment. So I am being patient with those, but I check the expiration dates. So we are looking at XAGE, Longevity Health. As I said, Longevity Health is working with skincare products, cosmetics, things like that. They're based here in the United States, Pennsylvania. The company itself had a decent day. They were up 13% today, and they are at $3.46. The warrants are always going to be cheaper. They're normally penny stocks, no problem there. When the stock gets heat and starts to run, that's when you see the warrants run. They just don't run for no reason at all. And they normally just don't run. They sit there waiting for something to happen. There's no liquidity. And to be honest, when I'm trading warrants, I don't pay attention to the charts, because the chart isn't what they're basing the price movement on warrants. They're running based on the stock. So when the stock starts to move, you'll have a big spread between the ask and a bid, like 2 cents to 10 cents, and you buy it at 2 cents. And all of a sudden, somebody buys it for 10 cents. And you just lose your mind. It's like, whoa, 500% run. Boom, just like that. Yes and no. The price went up 500%, but the bid didn't move. You're still at 2 cents, but the price is up 500%. It'll take 2 or 3 more bids above yours. Could be 10 cents, 7 cents, 5 cents, any of those. It'll move then to those prices. And then you take your gain, because it can come down just as fast, because the bid is very volatile, just like the ask. Normally they're spread. When they close up and get real close, that's when you've got liquidity. That's when you want to get in, watch that volume. As soon as it starts to trail off, get out, take your gains. So let's see what we can learn about what's going on with this company right now. What have I got lined up here? Okay, we've got a couple pieces of news. First off, let's look at the products. I was interested in their products, not because of what they are, but how much they charge. You're only going to make good money if you're charging good money. And boy, are they. This one here, that one's $200. These down here, these little bottles, that's how big they are. Those are going for $250 a piece. God almighty. So that's their product line right there. Now let's see what we've got over here for news. Seems like I'm missing a page over here. As I said, they had a stock split. And why isn't this highlighted? Oh, brother. I've got a lot of highlights on every single page that are supposed to be saved. So when I come back to the page, they're there. And that's how I know what it is I'm talking about. So I've got to look at this for a second. Let me catch up. Okay. So they had that reverse stock split of 1-30 on the 12th. Then we get a piece of news here that announces their continuation on the NASDAQ as they complete this merger. All of my highlights are gone. This is bloody bad, folks. This is going to make it rough on me. Longevity Health Holdings today announced that it has received a favorable decision from the NASDAQ, granting the company's request to continue listing on the NASDAQ, subject to the satisfaction of the NASDAQ initial listing rules for combined company following the proposed merger with 2020 Biolabs on or before September 2nd. So they got a merger going on with 2020 Biolabs that is supposed to be done before September 2nd. The company has already filed their S-4 registration for the proposed merger, which is a definite. You have to do that. They've already done it. That's something we normally look for. That was done on May 8th, and then the split was done on May 12th. Now, what is 2020 all about? 2020 Biolabs develops, commercializes, innovative laboratory test for early detection and proactive management of chronic diseases. It offers multi-cancer early detection blood test available in the U.S., which can be accessed at home or at retail locations. This quarter, 2020 also expects to introduce a new blood test for the monitoring of chronic inflammation, which contributes to 8 out of 10 leading causes of death in America, as well as skin disorders. Interesting. So they've got their own products, which are not just cosmetics. They're actually keeping you looking young, supposedly, and they charge well for it. And then they are merging with this company that's got tests for different types of cancer diseases and now different types of blood diseases that cause inflammation. So what was the relative volume around the company today? All right, this is going to show us the relative volume on the warrant. This is at 37,000 when they were at 4,000. That's a huge jump. Wondering about the stock? Let's see here. Huge jump on the stock. That jumped from 12,000 shares on a major exchange. That's way under the radar, up to over 21 million today. I can't calculate the jump there, but that is huge. Share structure in the company is super low. Now that's going to attract a lot of buyers right there. We got 1 million shares outstanding. The insiders most likely own something. Subtract that from the outstanding share count. That's your float. Folks, a low float starts at 10 million. A decent float is under 100 million. What do you think anything under 1 million is? I'll tell you what it is. It's in the danger zone. Yeah, it's great for me and you, but the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, they have a minimum criteria for the float. It is 1.5 million. And they just did a rule about 6-7 months ago that says you cannot do a reverse stock split to get into compliance if you're going to break the rule of the minimum float. Well, they just did that. And I haven't seen the major exchange stop anybody for doing it yet. They made a big deal about the announcement. I posted it. That's why I remember it. They don't care. So right now we've got a super duper low float. So when this stock gets 24 million shares in a day, they got to sell every share 24 times in a day. Most companies don't do that. Taking a look at the financials for the company. They just started making revenues at the end of 2024. They did $50,000 worth of business, not 50. We got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers, but they had to spend. Oh, no, we're okay. I'm reading it wrong. They spent $6,000. They got to keep $43,000 of that. Quarterlies, they've done 12, 20, and 17,000 over the last 3 quarters. That was last year. We haven't had a quarterly report here. Now, do we have a quarterly report? Let's see. We do. We have a quarterly report that just came out on the 15th. And normally you can just come down to the blue boxes real quick. Our total assets, we've got 3.3 million compared to 1.4 million. So that has come up. Our liabilities have come up as well from 6 million up to 7 million, which means we're holding about 3.5 million in stockholder deficit. So we're holding deficit in this company right now. Let's see. Income, revenues. Oh, you didn't do it easy for me there. No, they got cash flow and expenses, but no revenues. Let's see. Other income. Income. We've got 5. Do we get zeros here? No zeros. Yeah, we're talking thousands of dollars. They dropped from 9,000 down to 5,800, it looks like. So this last quarter actually fell from the 9,000 that we just saw down to 5,000. Let's see. We've got an 8K here. Let me take a look at these. 8Ks are always good to look at. Their material changes. The company was notified by NASDAQ. Yeah, this is about the merger, so we don't have to worry about that one. This one is probably about some shares. Yep, they got some shares. Now, I was trying to figure out what this 1.3 million shares has to do with this merger. I couldn't figure this out. I did dive into this a little bit. I do remember that, but I wasn't able to figure it out. It's not a lot of shares. It's only 1.3 million, but keep in mind, they got a low float, 1 million. So if this was to be added on, that would double the float, which is a 50% decrease. However, they just did a reverse stock split on May 20th, 1 and 30th, or May 12th. So the stock If they were to double it right now from 1 million to 2 million, I don't think it would affect the price at all. At all. They just got themselves a super duper low float after coming from 30, 35 million, somewhere around there. Okay, we are looking at the warrant. I got to remember that so I don't go jumping over there and looking at the chart for the wrong one. Okay, you're with me. You're following me. Jump over the charts here. Oh, get out of my face. Q. MLGO, folks. You've been following me the last 2 days. I've talked about MLGO, ticker MLGO, and she was hot today again. And I don't think she's done yet, folks. Should I make another video? Look at this. I covered it 2 days ago, right here. She ran yesterday. She ran today. She hit a high of $34 back in March, and she has a history of bouncing. Her bounces go $5, $6, $10 over and over again. Doesn't matter if she's climbing or falling. Doesn't matter if she's stuck on a MA. She bounces $5 before she comes down. This is a great stock to hold just for those bounces. But back to what we're supposed to be looking at. XAGE, age W, right? Yes, sir, we're there. All right, we are looking at the warrant. Let's kick this back a year. Let's just see what we've got going on. Now, I'm going to say it again. I normally don't follow charts for warrants, where the MAs are, what patterns they're in. You know how many charts I find in 200 squeezes that are warrants that I never, ever share with you because I ignore them. I personally ignore them. So it's not like I'm not sharing them with you. I ignore them because there's just not a lot of heed to the chart. The heed is to the stock itself. So we are in a downtrend. Right now, she is breaking out. You can see that. We had a huge rip back in January. She went from about 3 cents, which is about the cost of all of my warrants, up to 20 cents. Boom. Now, we don't know if the ask got up to 20 cents. The ask may have only met 10 cents. Who knows? You can't find that in the history. You actually could because they have a replay button on Thinkorswim. I think other platforms have it as well. And I can go to any date on the chart and I can replay what looks live and I can speed it up and I can see it moving and you can get all the information on the chart. So I could probably figure that out. But that's why I'm holding my warrants for days like that. And I've got sells in. I've got a sell in for 9 cents for every single warrant. Even if they go past that, I want to be alerted and take some gains. I don't want to miss it. So she's come down here. We had a low of 1.5 cents and a high of 20 cents. Her average low here, right about this area, is about 1.7 cents. She rode on that. She's gotten over top of her 50, which is the strongest MA she's got. And she is climbing, folks. We can see we've got a nice uptrend going, and each bar is getting bigger. Each jump is getting bigger as she's going along. She hit a high today of 10 cents. Wow. So, you know, there was a 500% run right there before she came back down to 6.4 cents right now. Taking a look at our 4 hour, 6 month, pretty much the same thing. Our big jump, falling downhill, laying on our support, climbing. All that run came pre-market. Yeah, warrants sell pre-market, aftermarket as well. It fell most of the day, but it's sitting on top of the 9-day MA. It did not come under. We had a wick come under it, which I'm not worried about. It's a solid bar I'm concerned about. Our 20 has crossed the 50 and climbing. If you're paying heed to the chart, it doesn't look bad right now. All of our oscillators are looking pretty warm, except our RSI. RSI falls when the price falls, so that makes sense. We got a low here of 2 cents, riding on that support. Got up on top of the 20 and took that jump this morning. Jumped fast from about 3.7 cents up to 12 cents. Goodness, I wonder what the ask was. Came back down to the 9, and she sat on that 9 all day. Now you can see all the price bars are getting smaller, 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 which tells us something's about to happen. When you see things get smaller like that, something bounces one way or the other. So we're going to watch this. It could jump either way. Now let's see what our ask and our bid are right now. Now it's aftermarket. It really doesn't count. But we have 8.5 cents for our ask and 5.1 cents for our bid. Now, I guess it would matter on warrants. The reason I say it doesn't matter is a lot of people will protect their stock. Stocks on the OTC, stocks on the major exchange can be shorted, they can be borrowed. And where do they borrow them from? Us. They borrow our shares and they sell them and put the money in their pocket, and they sell them to push the price down so that when it gets real low, they can buy them back and give them back, and they get to keep the difference. Well, they can't get your shares if they're in the queue to be sold. So you can take your shares after market and say, I want to sell them for $300 a share, even though they're 2 cents. They can't loan your shares out. So that's supposed to help you protect yourself from shorters. That's what they say. But I don't think you can short warrants, so I don't think there's any reason to do that. Let's come on down to our 5-day, 15-minute. Yeah, it's just a close-up of what we're looking at there. It was right before the bell. She hit her high, and at the bell, she tumbled fast. General rule of thumb, if a stock is ripping and running before the bell, don't get in it because it's normally going to fall at the bell. So you wait until she falls and you catch the bounce coming up. That's on a normal stock. You don't play warrants like normal stocks. You play them on the heat that's on the table based on the news for their company stock and get out as soon as you get that gain. If the stock was running and then falls before the bell, there's a good likelihood it's going to jump at the bell. But I always wait till after the bell. If I'm close to the bell, I'll play pre-market. But when it gets close, if I'm in a play, I'm out. I am not going to carry a stock pre-market into the market. No, there's too much volatility at that bell. So I will get out and then I'll watch the market and see what it does after the bell. Maybe I'll get in, maybe I won't. There's a lot of choices at that point. All right, that covers the warrant. Basically, as I said, the chart isn't what I'm going to be watching for the warrant. I'm going to be watching the stock itself. I'm going to see if it gets hot, if volume starts coming into it, if it starts surging. Now, it could surge easily when it's only got 1 million shares in the float. So when that stock starts climbing, look at the warrant and see if it's getting attention. It could bounce. Make sure before you sell to look at the price, not the price of the stock, the price that you're selling for. You can only sell for the bid. I have sold at the wrong price. Sold it for exactly what I bought it for. And it's like, where'd my profit go? It never went up to the ask. It didn't move. Make sure it moves before you sell. Okay. Let me jump on back here just so I can take a breath. I actually hyperventilate. I talk too fast. I talk too loud. And I use too much breath. And I actually hyperventilate. Hello, Mr. Davis, Mountain Man. How you doing? Yeah, please hit the like button. I want to know if you care. And that's the only way I know. I can't hear you, so I can see your likes. Anything fresh over here? No. Okay, a little bit of nicotine and let's get on our way. I'll get rid of that. Thank you very much. I'm looking. Okay, we are going to look at ticker EYENIN. This is ENI Nova Inc. ENI Nova came to me by my buddy, Mark Ryan. This is a medical device. They make this it looks like this. It's about that big, but it has a little sprayer on it that you put up to your eye and you spray. Let me see if they got a picture. Yeah, just like that. Now, they devised this device initially for doctors. When they needed to get your pupils dilated to do certain things, it's a microdose. Because your eyes stay dilated for a long time. You can't drive home. You got to get someone else to drive because you can't see. And you got to put on sunglasses because you'll be blinded by the light. It hurts so bloody bad. I've had it done. But now they've brought it to the consumer market. There's lots of different medications you can put in it, or you can just use it for fake tears, which is what a lot of people use it for. So they've got both those markets going, the OptiJet, pre-filled, and this is what they're trying to avoid. Move. Aiming it, getting it in your eye, and then it being wasted. Yeah, it's a pain. You got to wipe. You ruin your mascara if you wear mascara, but you're wasting it. And medicine isn't free. It costs money. And this device at least doubles the amount of doses you get from your current prescription, which is going to save you money ultimately. So that's the company's device. They've got a super low float. They just filed a 13D, which is what is filed a 13D or a 13G whenever you have a new investor come into the company and they buy so many shares, they become an insider. They own a percentage of the company. We got one of those. And they too are involved in a reverse merger right now. So let's take a look at ticker ENI Nova. This is a company based here in the United States out of California. Finished today at $2.03 and was up 45%, jumping 63 cents today. Hot penny stock on the NASDAQ, which means you don't have to pay for any of your transactions like you do the OTC. They're free to buy, free to sell. You get to trade at pre-market, aftermarket. You never get to do that with OTC. And as I was saying, there are some huge runs pre-market, aftermarket. And I think it's primarily because all the umpires go home. There are no halts for volatility. During the day, a stock runs too fast, too hard, they stop it. And you got to wait for them to put it back on the road. Not aftermarket. It goes until it stops. You can also depend on them being more reliable because there's more rules up on the major exchange. That's the problem with the OTC. It is, what do they call that? Decentralized, like the blockchain. There is no oversight for all that's going on down there on the OTC. There's over 200 different brokers all setting their own prices. It is crazy down there. It is the wild, wild west. Up on the NASDAQ, every single stock on the NASDAQ is being eyeballed by NASDAQ, and they got a ton of rules that they have to abide by. That's good for us. There is also a lot more money and a lot more volume on the major exchange, which is good for us. And what's the last thing? I think I covered everything. All right. So what's this company about? I already told you that. So let's see what I have lined up here for information. By golly, I don't have anything lined up. Why not? I don't know. Oh, that's right. I realized that this is supposed to save my news. So let's see if my highlights are here. How nice is that? Okay. So ENI Nova entered into a non-binding letter of intent to effect a reverse merger with Betalik. They did that back in March. Here on the 19th, the company provides updates on the potential merger with Betalik and the development of Optejet user-filled devices and reports first quarter results. Whew, thank God. That's a lot of information I was going to have to dive around for in here. Yeah, see? Yeah, thank God my highlights are there. All right. So I bulleted some information here. There's a lot more here that you can acquire. ENI Nova and Betalik continue to negotiate a binding merger agreement consistent with the previously announced signed letter of intent. So if you want more information, go back to that first news press. The company reports continued progress on the development of the user-filled Optejet and remains on track to file for U.S. device regulatory approval this September. The company also reduced their ongoing cash burn by approximately 70%. They need to do that versus prior year and improve their debt repayment terms. Now let's talk about this merger. The negotiations continue towards a binding merger agreement with Betalik, a clinical stage private pharmaceutical company focused on glaucoma with access to ISOL, a non-aqueous technology that may address many of the needs of these patients. We've agreed to extend the binding exclusivity period set forth in the letter of intent until June 7th of this year to allow more time to complete and execute the anticipated merger, which would be a great binding there. This sounds like a perfect company to get with this company. Looking at their financials, first quarter of 2025, they reported net loss of $3.5 million, which equates down to $1.59 per share. Now, I know that sounds horrible, but compare that to the last quarter? The last quarter, it was $18.75 a share. So there's a lot of changes here. Expenses down to $7.7 million from $4.4 million. Administrative expenses down to $2.4 compared to $3.6. Operating expenses were $3 million compared to $10 million. Everything is going the right direction. And the company's unrestricted cash and cash equivalents were up 3.9 million compared to 2.1 million compared to December. So all of their financials are going the right direction, diminishing their expenses, increasing their revenues. It's all looking good. Anything else I got here? No, nothing else on this one. Was there any other news I wanted to share there? No. Let's take a look at our disclosures. Oh, I highlighted one. How about that? This is that 13D. This is the big investor that came into the company. Come on. Why is it not coming up? Okay, do it to it. All right, this isn't the one I wanted to share with you, but let's see here. Back up. That's it. Pain in the butt. All right, so it is Avenue Ventures Opportunities right there. This is the company that's making the investment. They just got themselves 27.2% of the company. Darn near 1/3 of the company. I don't know why they want it, but you've got to anticipate that if someone buys 1/3 of the company, they've done some serious due diligence. And if it looks good to them, it should look good to us. Now, maybe this is somebody who knows something about Bedelic, who knows something about the merger. You know, you always got to look at an insider purchase, and he's an insider now, as a token indicator that something good could be happening to the stock. And we do see a merger on the headlines right now. Let's see, is there anything else there? 10Q, we've got our most recent financial, and 8K goes along with it. They were late on it, but they got it out there in time. And we got one more 8K here this month. They got a new certifying accountant. That just changed. So everything is good over here. Everything is looking hot. And this merger is what? June? They're looking into June, which is just a couple weeks away. So this is right on the horizon. Let's take a look at the ticker EYEN over here at Think or Swim. That's our short chart. Let's go all the way back to a year. Like a lot of stocks, right? She's been in a downtrend the entire year. We've had a reverse stock split right there. Whoa, a big one. Now, didn't they say they just did one, right? A 1 in 30? And that one isn't showing up here. So they just did a 1 in 30. Here's another one all the way back in February of 1 in 80. Wow. Is that right? Well, in either case, you've got to take those ratios and divide those into your high prices now, because they do not just put a big green bar on the charts telling you this is the reverse stock split. It kicked the price up this far, and then you get to see how we reacted. You don't get that anymore. They multiply the entire chart by these splits. So if they had one split, they multiply it by that, 10. They do another split, 80, they multiply it times 80. Well, 10 times 80 would be 800. And you've got to divide these high bubbles by those splits if you want to know the true actual prices on those days. It is ridiculous, folks. It is the equivalent to fake news. In either case, the charts never change. They're always the same, so you can trust the layout. We had a big rip here. She had jumped, well, I don't know what she jumped. In this case, it says $52 to $124. So we're looking at over 100% run. She came down hard, lower than where she started, sideways for quite a while, took another hard drop, dribbled down to a strong support here, and she's been sitting on that support for a long time, floating, hovering over this 200 haul, which is turned up, rising. Now, our price is not yet on the 50 right there. We're waiting for it to get on the 50. When it gets on the 50, it should get power from the rising 200. Well, look, I know you can't see that very well, but right in this zone right there, she is crossing that 200, that 50, and she's getting on top of it. Once she gets on top, she starts getting more power. Volume's coming into the picture. That is all coming from the 200 squeeze, folks. Our oscillators are all starting to get strength now. Everything is pushing. Now, I'm not saying she's going to run from the 50 to and through the 200. That's what I normally say, but we'd be going from $3.75, no, $1.75 up to $18.50. Whew. No, but I do expect to run. Now, hopefully the lower charts will give us a picture. This is the yearly chart. Take a look at our 4-hour chart. So you can see the downhill here. We had a trend she was trying to hang on to here, almost turned our 200 up. And look at the bounce. Once everybody got excited that the 200 was looking like it was going to climb and a breakout could happen, she jumped here from old numbers. It says $40 to $50. So, we'd be looking at about a 25% jump there. That's what that would calculate out to. But because it was falling, she got punished. When you get too high above the 200 and it's falling, you normally fall even further. She came down, had another jump, and really isn't showing any eagerness at all. This has been months, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months of nothing going on. It is only here that things are starting to happen while she's been in this 200 squeeze for a long time, and it's getting tight. So as soon as it closes in, something has got to happen. Has to make a decision. Yeah, I guess it could go sideways, but in most cases, it doesn't. It does one thing or the other. And in most cases, it is going to break up. And that's exactly what we got. She's on top of the 50, 200's climbing. She went to and through the 200. And did she come back down? Yeah, days later, she came back down to the 200, and now she's bouncing again. There's your first play. Here's going to be our second play. Take gains for each one. Don't ride it out. No need to ride that down. That's no fun at all. This isn't a roller coaster ride. It is taking gains as fast as you can get them. All of our oscillators are strong right now on our 4-hour chart. Everything is climbing. We had volume come in today. Looking at our 1-hour chart, that's the daily. Excuse me. Nothing going on for days. Just little adjustments, getting stronger, and then a very strong pop after hours. Or is that? Nope, that's after hours. She took that big jump. Pre-market, she took another jump and downtrend, and then another jump to a new high. All of this, pre-market, after market. As soon as the bell hit, she fell. Fell the whole day, fell the next day, hit the 200, just like here, and bounced again. Boom, she's ripping. Going from $1.25 up to $2.16, still floating on that 9-day. Now, as long as she stays on that 9-day, I suspect she's going to continue to climb. Here, she got too far away from the 9-day. The 9-day is clear down there. God's sake, it's down at $1.77, and that's at $2.32. That's too far. And when this comes running back down super fast, the 9-day is a cracker resistance. It can break it so easy. The 20-day is only twice as thick, balsa wood. So when it comes down, it needs something thicker, a plywood, a 50-day, or a plank, a 2x4, like a 200. That's when you're going to get your bounce. This wasn't strong enough to hold it. It tried, hit its head on these other falling MAs, and came down to the 200. So read your MAs, folks. There's a lot of people that trade without them. That's great, because there is enough information in every bar if you can read your bars. But if you can't, the MAs are what most traders are following, which is why they work. They're the same signal we're all looking at the street light. When it changes, we all do the same thing because we're all looking at the same signal. There's no magic. It's just that we're all watching the same thing. Come on down to our 5-day, 15-minute. So what do we got? We've got that big rip, a dip, and a jump. And right now she's landing on that 20 with a wick. She's over the 9, but the 9 is falling. But she only tagged that 20 and then bounced back. So she's not coming down with velocity. So there's a strong likelihood she's going to bounce on that 20. But if you break the 20 without strength, you're just needing something more, you can get it from the dynamic duo. You can almost count 9 out of 10 times. If it breaks to 20 gently, it'll just bounce off the 50 and the 200 because it isn't coming down hard. It just needs something harder to jump off of. So this looks good for continuation to me. All the oscillators are warm, though there's a little bit of cooling off right now after hours. She does look good. She's taking bounces right now. She's getting energy. We just had a new investor come in, buy 30% of the company roughly. They're on the verge of a reverse merger. It's looking strong to me. It's one to consider. Now, because she is on a high note, if you're going to get in, don't buy everything at once. Buy part of what you want. There's a strong likelihood she's going to come back down to that 200. You're going to want to buy more there. So don't buy everything now. Wait and see what she does. And when she takes another strong run, take your gain. Sell something. 50%. take your gains, get your money back, let the rest ride. Don't risk everything, folks. Minimize your risk every chance you get. Okie dokie. Let's just fly on into that next stock, folks. We are going to look at Fitty. Fitty. Get up the right page. Fitty is Fitty Labs, which was brought to me by the Underdog. Now, this is an interesting combo. They got two divisions. One division works with a biohazard detection device. It can detect all kinds of biohazards. It's a long list. But they also work with nutritional products for the consumer. That's a wide spread. They've got a couple deals going on right now. Though one of them has been canceled, I'll point that out. They've got no revenues on the books. They've got a high float. They've got no filings except their financial, which just came out on the 15th. So, Fitty Labs. This is a U.S. company based out of Florida. She finished today at a very low price, 0031. She is up 14.8% today, meaning she jumped 0004%. It ain't much, but it adds up if you got a lot of shares. She's on the bottom tier of the OTC, the pink, which is it June 1st? It is just here in June coming up. They're changing the name. It's not going to say pink anymore. It's going to say ID, like identification. It's going to be ID. I don't know why. So they're going to be calling this ID, but right now it is pink. Current. She's got validated information, which comes from the OTC markets. They do this. Company has a verified profile and a transfer agent. Unless they uplisted themselves to 10Ks and 10Qs, which they haven't, this is the only validated information you get with pinks, are these two green ticks. And that's why I preach to everybody. Look for those if you're going to get into a pink, even if you're just trading it. Because if you happen to get stuck in it, you don't want to be stuck in a stock you know nothing about. The news is not about the company. That's hype. That is fantasy, folks. I'm telling you right now, I have seen more pink news never materialize. All these deals, all these new technologies. And I invested into those. I put money on it for the long run. 3 months, this is going to happen. So I waited 3 months. 3 months, they say, something bad happened and we can't do it. And it just never came back. Like that one company, I can't remember the name of it. They actually hired the guy who invented the device that you could put in your car that would generate power to keep your electric car going forever and ever and ever. Wow, I invested in that. What a fool. Still haven't got my money back on that one. They saw me coming from a long ways down the road. So what is this company about? Well, I just told you what they're about, but let's get just a wee bit more information about that. Fitty Labs is a technology and wellness company focused on developing cutting-edge solutions for public safety, environmental monitoring, industrial applications, and personal health. The 51 Labs BioSentry division is advancing a cutting-edge biohazard sensor technology designed to detect and analyze biological, chemical, and environmental threats in real time. I believe this is going to be hot. They are shooting for Department of Defense contracts, these big multi-$100 million contracts, and they're dealing with another company that's going to help them get them. Let me continue on here. Through its subsidiary, 51 LLC, the company offers a premium line of supplements, including pre-workout formulas, BCAAs, ion electrolyte formulas, turmeric gummies, and ashwagandha gummies. With a commitment to innovation and shareholder value, 51 Labs is dedicated to addressing global challenges. So let's see here. I've got a piece of news. Do I have there's their, now I couldn't find a site for their technology. I didn't do a deep dive, but on the OTC, this is the site it brings you to, and it just shows their nutritional stuff. Doesn't mention anything here about their technology. So I didn't get any help here. However, the news does cover a lot of it. We got a piece of news here that we need to focus in on because it covers it all. This came out April 30th. 51 Labs accelerates growth with their new CEO, the BioSentry division launch, and shareholder dividend. Company pursues strategic growth through UAV partnership targeted acquisitions. Now, I do believe I need to go back one. I do. I can't show you that piece of news because it doesn't make sense without the other pieces of news. So going back to February of this year, the company did a reverse merger, 51 Labs, with Consumer Automotive Finance. That's how they came onto the market. It was on the 14th of March, they changed their name and their ticker. On the 20th of March, the company acquired Genetic Networks, working to secure multi-million-dollar Department of Defense contracts. They never finalized that deal for a lot of reasons that they list, but it never happened. So that deal is not on the books anymore, which means UAV Corp and Genetic Networks announced strategic collaboration to combat biohazards. That never happened. So we missed out on a deal? Nah, we just went by genetics and went straight to the company with this deal. UAV Core drives growth with partnership dividend and new leadership with DART SA-70 test success. So I need to read this one first. The company has made a deal with UAV Core. Where is their ticker? I know they've got a ticker here. I can't see it right off the top of my head. There it is, UMAV. They too are on the OTC market. Now, this company deals with drones and, for all practical purposes, blimps. They're not blimps per se, but they look like them, they float like them, they're blimps. So those are the two things that they work with. UAV Core has partnered with 51 Labs to integrate their UAV platform with 50's BioSentry division. They want to put these biohazard devices on their flying devices so that they can use them in the air and do all sorts of great, wonderful things, which is developing a compact Internet of Things enabled sensors for real-time detection of biological, chemical, and environmental threats. Now, they go through a list of them, and anything your mind can imagine. That's what they're looking for. All the problems in water, around industrial areas, around military sites, anything and everywhere. This partnership with 51 Labs positions UAV Core at the forefront of innovation in aerial surveillance and biohazard detection. Now, I may be wrong here, folks, but this is leaning in my mind as something I've looked at before, and I have not seen it right now, but it seems to me I read earlier that not only are they able to detect these biohazards, but they have equipped a sprayer to neutralize biohazards. So while they find them, they have something they can spray to make things safer. I haven't read it here and now, and I don't know that it's actually with this company, but I have read that somewhere for somebody. In a move that underscores the commitment to shareholder prosperity, UAV Core is excited to announce that its shareholders are going to receive a dividend of 50 Labs. We're not getting any dividends. Details regarding the dividend and the amount of the distribution and the timeline will be shared in coming months. Now, I jump into the other piece of news. Now it's going to make more sense. That's this one up here. Please still be highlighted. Oh, you bum. You bloody bum. Okay. Let's see if I can remember here. They tell us, let me find it. All right, they give us a lot of information about what I was just talking about, all the dangers that they can find and what their mission is in this. But they also go and tell us it was previously announced that the Genetic Networks had been acquired by 50 Labs. However, this was not finalized. 51 Labs confirms that the employment was not offered to the person. Where's the one I'm looking for? God bless America. We've got a dividend coming. There it is. 51 Labs is also excited to announce a strategic partnership with UAV Corporation, ticker UMAV, to advance the UAV integrated biohazard detection capabilities. As part of this collaboration, 51 Lab plans to issue a dividend of UMAV shares to Fitty shareholders, strengthening the alignment between the two companies and their investors. Details of this dividend will be shared in coming months. Now, I've gotten into a lot of these dividends, and it's great, but unless you're really buying a lot of shares, it doesn't add up to much. I mean, I've got like 3 or 4 dividends here in the last 6 months. They just pop up finally. It's like, what the heck is this? Oh, yeah. You got to go back and look. And it's like, what? 25 shares? That's nothing. Well, they give you a share for every 100 you own or every 200 or something like that. So then it's like you're committed to buying more shares if you want to really make anything off of it. So you can get into it for that, or you can just get in for the ride up when people are riding this up. Now, keep this in mind. Habit is showing that as soon as the deal closes, most stocks fall. Don't know why. That's just what happens. It's par for the course. So ride it up before they close the deal. Get out just before they close it. If you like the company, watch it fall after it closes. And then when it starts bouncing back, get in at a better price and ride it back up. So that's what we got going on. We've got a merger, and I think it's an excellent merger. I mean, this is fantastic. Who the heck wants a biodetecting device on a wall, right? Or a telephone pole? Yeah, they could probably do some good there. But if you put it on a mobile device over everything, it can do anything everywhere. And it can detect it and possibly neutralize a lot of these. I think this is a great company to be considering, as well as the other company. Absolutely. Both of them look good to me right now. So what was the relative volume around Fitty? She jumped down. Okay. Let me wipe my eyes. Take a breath. Okay. So over the last 30 days, she's been doing roughly 40 million shares. Some days better, some days lower. That's the average. Today, she did about 24 million. Share structure for the company. It's up there. We've got over $500 million outstanding, 571 million. Insiders, it's current. They say they own just a little over 100 million, which is a good solid hold. Nothing wrong with that. But we get all the rest. 468 million shares. That's a lot of shares to move. But, you don't have to move all the shares to make a profit. You don't have to move a herd of cows to get a steak. Move one cow. That's all you got to do. Move one cow. So this stock starts moving, we can take gains. The nice thing about stocks that have high floats, they don't fall as fast as stocks that have low floats. They climb steady, they fall steady. You've got time to make your decisions. No excuses here, folks. Market cap for the company, egads. With all those shares, we're only at 1.5 million. You get your market cap by multiplying all of your outstanding shares by the price. That gives you your market cap. So when this goes up, our market cap goes up. When they do a reverse stock split, which at some point in time they will, that's going to bring our market cap down, way down. Taking a look at the financials for Fitty. No revenues as of 2024, as I said, and no revenues on the quarterly basis. Oh, worse yet, I had not taken a look at this. We got no money in the bank. None. We've got no current assets. We have $1,000 in total assets. Total liabilities is only $205,000. This is like a startup company. They've got nothing. They've got nothing bad, nothing good. Normally with a startup company, you have a lot of debt because they had to buy everything they needed to get started. Looks a bit peculiar not to have debt if you haven't got assets. And we're holding all that debt. But $1,000, $204,000 divided up amongst all of us. So we're not holding a whole lot each, but we are holding debt. We are holding a bag, essentially. Disclosures for the company. Well, as I said, they don't have anything here because they don't uplist to the 10Ks and 10Qs. So all we get are financials. That just came out on the 15th. And you're really not going to get a lot of information in a financial because it's done by management. It's not even done by a CPA. It's done by them. They tally up how much they got, how much they spent, as far as they know, and they give them to us. And they're really not held liable for that information because they're not CPAs. But when they bring out an annual report, they have to have an attorney look at it to make it legal. So without the attorney letter, if they file a 10K, it's not filed. Not until that attorney letter comes in. Now, the attorney doesn't verify the numbers, just the address, the name, all that stuff. He verifies that. That's all he does. So let me see. Did we cover everything there? Yes, sir, we did. Dun, 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 dun. All right, over here they say she's a shell risk, which is what it is. Shell risk means she's saying we're in business. We're doing something right now, but we're not making any money doing it. What kind of business is that? And I'm not quite sure what business they are doing, because who are they selling their biohazard device to? I haven't seen it. Obviously, they're selling their products. Are they on Amazon? Or do you have to go to the website? Is that the only place you can buy it? Can you get them at GNC? I mean, $50,000 wasn't a lot of money that they were making, and now it's zero. So, they got backed up products. That's probably the debt. All of those nutritional goods just sitting in some warehouse somewhere. All right, let's go check out Fitty now. Fitty. Feeling pretty fitty myself. Okay, let's go back a year. All right, obviously I was interested in this a while back. I wouldn't have supports and resistances up there unless somebody was playing it. We were using the Fibonacci, which means normally there was a big run or she was at all-time highs. Let's go back 3 years. We had a big run here. So I was basing it off of this run. Oh, that's it. She hit an all-time high. And we were playing all-time highs with that Fibonacci. And from the all-time high, she has fallen down. And the Fibonacci is of no use to us anymore. We'll get rid of that. That won't even come into play later. Not really. So as you can see, she had a rip from 0008 up to 1.5 cents, which is one hell of a run. Let me tell you what, that's 1,000, I don't know, 1,500%, something like that, real close to 1,500%. Let's come down to something that makes a little more sense. The yearly. No, that's the hourly. Boy, I hit those buttons too fast. So that's what she did. She had a nice rip there. Now, each one of these is a day. So she was giving away money day after day while she was doing this climb. Now, hopefully you play it smart, folks. As a day trader, even if you think it's going to run hard, why not take your gains and just get back in? Even if you get in at the exact same price that you sold for. You buy for a penny, you sell for 2 cents, you buy in again at 2 cents. But at least you got a profit now. You put profit in your money, and this is a whole new play. Take your gains as you're going up, minimize your risk, feel good, feel safe, feel comfortable. You'll trade a lot better without all that stress. So you could have taken gains here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row before she went sideways. As she was creating this pennant, you should have known change was a-coming. And there it was, down and dirty, all the way down to a floor down here of 0015. And now she's starting to come up. Coming on down to our 4 hour, it's going to look like our 1 day, just a little bit smoother. You can see she's on top of our 20 now. 50 is still falling. That's pushing this down. That's going to hold it. We don't have a 200 here. Our oscillators, we got some strength coming into the picture. Volume is here. Not much, but it's there compared to the days before, and it's all green. Our PPO is about ready to do a crossover. That's bringing us into power. Our ADX is working on power. Now, I got to tell you, the red line is your downtrend. It is at the top. Anything at the top is what's dominant, but you can see it's receding. It's giving up the power. The power it lets go of, it has to give to the green. Now, the green is in the weak zone down at the bottom, but it's climbing, taking that power from a falling downtrend. So even though this looks bad, it's growing in strength right now. Your yellow line will tell you how much strength is in this trend change. Right now, it's pretty weak. We're down here at 20%, but it's happening now. We're catching it at the beginning. Our MACD says that's the truth. She fell for many, many days. We had a crossover about 10 days ago. She's been pushing up ever since. Lots of green bars, getting bigger and bigger. Steady growth. She is actually starting to grow right now. And our RSI, she was down there. She was down at 32. The floor is 30. You can go less than that, but the floor was 30. She is now up there at 57, pushing hard and strong. Everything is looking nice on this long chart. Take a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. We got a change of trend. We were at 008 6 months ago. No, 20 days ago. Did I skip the 4-hour? No. Whew. Slow down. So we were at 008 20 days ago and hit 000. God bless it. All right, folks, hold on. I normally get to take a break, when I'm doing everything every day, but okay. So it was back on April 24th. We were at 008, and just 3 days ago, we hit 0016. And off of that low, we are bouncing. We are floating on that 9-day in a 200 squeeze right now. A beautiful one. There's your falling 200, which is barely falling, barely. We got a very strong rising 200 hog, giving power to the price. The price is over the 50, which is the launch pad, already launching, floating on that blue cloud, the 9-day MA, up and up. I'm expecting this to go to and through the 200. Right now, we're at 003. The 200's currently at 0048. I expect it to break it. That's what I think. Our oscillators, our PPO is climbing, got lots of strength in our ADX there. You can see the green line is climbing, the yellow line is high. They're both going up. Our downtrend is falling to the weakest part. This is beautiful, folks. Climbing hard and strong right now. We are well over the floor. Green lines accumulating on our MACD, and we're in the overbought now, folks. And don't let overbought scare you. As a day trader, you want overbought. As an investor, don't you ever buy in the overbought. An investor wants to buy coming out of the oversold. You want to get her coming out of the basement this way. You don't want to be up here where she's going to come back down, which is why most people are afraid of it. But as a day trader, this tells you she's climbing hard right now. And that's what we're looking for, a probable move. So this is looking juicy on the 1-hour chart, just like the 4-hour chart. Take a look now at our 5-day, 5-minute. Trend change all the way. She is actually falling here, gently. She hit her head on it for quite a while and then got up on top and right there. Pre-market, aftermarket, she went flat and she's already ripping, folks. But take a good close look of when that rip happened. She's here on the 200. She got up on the 50, dipped down to the 200. I'm telling you, folks, when you see the price on the 50 and a 200 squeeze and it dips down to the 200, that is normally a crouch and pounce like a cat. It's getting ready to jump right now. She came down to that 200, jumped up onto the 50, right there. That's where we're at. Jumped up, hit her head on the 200, fell to the 9, and went straight to the 200. Did not even turn around, folks. This is a beautiful 200 squeeze going from 0018 up to a high. Let's just say that day, because I'm going to get out of it that day at 0027. So we're looking at about 80% run there. Now, you could have hung on to it, but I'm a day trader. I don't want to carry it overnight. God only knows what's going to happen. I would have watched this. I would have seen she came down a little bit, and maybe I would have got into it. But I watched the market the first 5 minutes. This is a 5-minute chart. I watched the market because it can change. You know, when I first started trading back in 2018, they had a common saying, which I have not heard since then, called Fool's Hour. The first hour of the day was considered Fool's Hour. Not because you were a fool if you were trading it, but because you could be fooled. Because it would run and run and run one way or the other and then change direction on the hour. Well, we still have that, but it's a 30-minute mark now. First 30 minutes, man, if you're really wise, you wait 30 minutes before you enter the market. Even if you're missing gains, you get a surety, get insurance. The better you feel, the more confident you're going to trade. And you don't want to trade haphazardly. First 30 minutes can be wild, folks. So we're on an uptrend now. She is bouncing off of the dual, the dynamic dual, the 50 and the 200. They're together. That's strong, folks. So she'll float on the 9. She'll bump on the 20, but she'll bounce off of that 200 and that 50. And she's bouncing right now. She hit another high coming down. We're up there at 3.3 with the 00 in front of it. Back down to the 20. Wicks all around. This is looking good for continuation, folks. All of our oscillators are showing strength. There's a little bit of pullback on the ADX, but our RSI is climbing. I'm liking Fitty for continuation, folks. This should be on your watch list. She isn't getting any super volume right now. When she does, she'll probably climb even faster. Looking good. Let me mosey on back home just so Mom knows I'm not in any danger. Take a look at your comments over here. Who, me? Dude, I just turned 50 13 years ago. That, oh, God. Yeah, that's okay. You know, when my beard, I shaved my beard off and then I grew it back. It was brown the last time I had it. When it came back, it was white. I freaked out. Literally panicked, folks. It was not good. And I was wearing my beard and I went to a bar I used to play pool at. But this bar is frequented by young people because it's next to a college. Well, when I came in with this white beard, I got treated like crap just because of my age. They treated me bad. When I didn't have beard and gray hair, they treated me fine. And I was 58, but I wasn't gray yet. So, you know, c'est la vie. I don't mind. Yeah, I trade stocks. I'm an old fuddy-duddy who loves penny stocks. What other comments we got here? Oh, 90s. Dude. You're being funny. I like a man with a sense of humor. Anything else going on over here? Oh, you guys talking a lot about my beard. Jiminy. Let's see. We got a new name here. Torque Ice Fest. Familiar with Zim Shipping. 39% dividend. But I'm concerned over foreign taxing. Yeah, I just played DTREF, which is a company. Let me see now. Let me get my brain together. Okay. DTREF is an Australian company that owns a gold mine in California called the Colossal. I think that's the name of it. And it's right next to Passway or Pass something or other. We've only got one critical mine in America that's open. This is a second one that is on a natural preserve. It is on the Mojave Preserve, and it is not being allowed to mine. They stopped in 1993. The company bought the mine and has never done anything with it. Well, President Trump mentioned this mine by name. He says, this mine is going active. We're getting our critical minerals. It's happening. Well, this company sold everything else they had just to get money to start mining this mine because they know there's 5-8 years worth of gold in there, plus critical minerals, because they're only 6 miles away from the only critical mineral mine we have here in America. Well, this company is foreign. I own a lot of foreign companies, but this one they charge a foreign tax on, $50. $50. And I think the price of the stock was 2 cents. I just bought some. I can't remember how much I bought, but I did pay the $50. And yes, you do have to pay the $50 when you sell it. So I got to pay $100 out of my own pocket just to buy this penny stock. So it better do well. That's all I can say. There's also another thing right now where we are working to get critical minerals off the ocean floor, not mining. We're picking up these potatoes that have accumulated over 1 billion years. They say there's trillions of them down there. Trillions of them. And we already have 2 companies, OMEX and TMC, that work on the bottom of the ocean. One works with shipwrecks, and I forget what the other one does, but they are applying for licenses to do this. I own both of those companies. So there's a lot that Trump is doing right now with critical minerals that you should be paying attention to. Yes, we just made a deal with Ukraine. We're going to be getting critical minerals from them as well. But I think Trump is going to get all the critical minerals he can get, regardless of all of the hoo-ha that he stirs up amongst all of this. Let me see what else. John puts a link to Penny Boys. Look for Stock Wizards Momentum. Come join us. Yeah, folks, I work over there at Penny Boys every single day from 9:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We are looking for momentum plays, looking for stocks moving right now. I find them. Anybody finds them. You can find them. You can post the chart. You can post the name of the stock. Tell us what you see. Tell us what you know. And we'll all start to look at it, and we all can trade it. We all can make some money together. It's fantastic. Trading with a community is so much more fun than trading by yourself. You may be able to concentrate more by yourself, but how much can you find and see by yourself? When you have a community, they bring information to you. It's like being at a restaurant, having a waiter bring you food constantly. You don't have to say yes to everything, but at least you have options. You have choices. And speaking of options, we have been scalping options in there as well. I trade the Q every single day. We got others that trade the SPY and others that are trading Apple or Amazon or some smaller companies I've never heard of. So we have another page called Free Lobby. It's free. They talk about options and swing trades, and you can ask your questions. Any stock question you have, go over there and ask it. We are here to help you learn how to trade, folks. Whatever trading you do, we have coaches. You ready for this? You can hire a coach for $40 a week. No, not a week, a month. $40 a month. What is that? $1.20 a day for a coach who can show you his P&L, show you the profits he's making, and then share how he does it with you so that you can do what you do better and make money. Folks, please come on over, jump on my page, jump on the Free Lobby page. Try before you buy is what I'm advertising here. See what we're all about. Come make some money with me. Then see if you have that $40 for that coach you probably want. Yeah. All right, I got any more stocks we can take a look at? Let me see here. Yep, we got another one all lined up. So let me jump on over there, folks. What time is she? 5:12. Well, as long as I got a voice, I'm willing to talk. Bon Jovi? No. Bon Voyage? No. Bon Nature? Yes. Bon Nature Life Limited. We're looking at another cosmetics company. This came to us by way of Dino Trades. This is a company in China. They make personal health products. I don't want to call them cosmetics because that's really not what they are. The Chinese cosmetics do things. They just don't lagger your face. You know, they've got special ingredients, Chinese remedies that are all built into these things. It's got a very high daily volume today, very low float, steady revenues. They just enacted a 1-in-25 reverse stock split to meet the $1 minimum bid price requirement, and they're involved in 2 deals right now. The highlights of what we're ready to look at. So let's take a look at this. As I said, it's a company from China, finished today at $2.10. Boom! Up 50% today, jumping 70 cents. Hot penny stock on the NASDAQ, giving you all those benefits you don't get on the OTC. So they tell us here that Bon Nature Limited, together with its subsidiaries, engages in research and development, manufacturing, and the sale of functional active ingredients extracted from natural herb plants in the People's Republic of China and internationally. It offers personal care ingredients such as plant-extracted fragrance compounds to perfumes and fragrance manufacturers, and natural health supplements comprising powders, drinks, bioactive food ingredients products used in food additives and nutritional supplements. Its products are used by manufacturing customers in the functional food, personal care, cosmetics, and pharmaceutical industries. So they've got consumer products, but it sounds to me like their consumer products are being sold to other companies, other industries that use their products in their products. So they probably do pretty well. Take a look at the relative. No, I got this one lined up. So let's see what I got lined up here. Oh, bloody heck. No, I got to remember. This is a new system I'm starting here. I can actually go to the news and have things highlighted, right? Yeah, see how great this is? Except for that. All right, we're not going to go through all this, but they talk about a lot of their products here. Unlocking broccoli's nutritional power. Their Appy polyphenol commercial order was signed, another of their products. Broccoli-derived sleep wellness line. So, you know, they're using natural stuff. I didn't know broccoli could make you tired. All I know is anytime you eat it, it smells like farts in the house. It stinks. I don't like the way broccoli smells. Then we've got the launch of its postbiotic, hyperglycemic, patented ingredient product series and its corporation agreement. I must have something highlighted in here. Oh, bloody heck. Let's see what I can see here. Bond Natural Life, a leading functional ingredient distributor in China, has just did a deal for a 36-month term agreement for a value of $32 million. So they've got a company, a Beijing company, that is doing 36 months worth of business for $32 million with their products. And I do believe there is a, is it right here? Here's another supply agreement for their apple polyphenol. You go through their 6Ks, they've got deals that they're not talking about in their news. Each one of these products are being sold to some company that's putting it in a pill or a spray or something the Chinese consume that we don't consume over here in America. Let's see what we've got for relative volume for this company right now. Matter of fact, let's see what the catalyst is. Our news did come out today. Bond launches T-pigment digestive health products and cooperation agreement signed with Shanghai Risen International Trade. Another deal on the books. They've got some T-pigment. I have no idea what that is. That helps with your digestive problems. So if you got irritable bowel syndrome, maybe this will help. I know the doctors say don't eat seeds, don't eat gluten, don't eat bacon. I did all that. Still got that side. Must be irritable bowel syndrome. You mean you don't know? No. Yeah, it's the catch-all. So maybe I'll try some T-pigment, see what that does for me. So the company is making lots of deals right now. What was their relative volume? Boom! It exploded from 500,000 to 93 million. So you're looking at virtually 180 times increase. That calculates out to 18,000% increase in our volume. That's a huge jump, folks. Outstanding shares is low. We have about 5 million total shares out there, but I don't know how many are on the market. You've got to take away whatever the insiders own, and that's questionable. That would tell you our float, but it can't be any higher than the outstanding share count, so it won't be more than 4.9 million and could be considerably less. Now do the math. They did 90 million shares today. There's 5 million shares. Just make it easy. You're looking at 18 times every share had to sell today. Folks, when you see a stock selling more shares than they have, that's a run. That's when you want to take a look at it. Market cap for the company, we're at just about 7 million. Are they making money? Yeah, steady revenues. As I said, they've been doing between 25 and 30 million roughly, and profits are between 7 and 10 million roughly. But it's steady every single year. We don't get to see their quarterlies. China doesn't like to give a lot of information out. Cash and cash equivalents in the bank, we got about 657,000. Total assets, we're at about 62 million. Total liabilities is way down there. We're at about 18 million. So we are holding stockholder equity with steady revenues, steady profits. We've got 43 million, call it 44 million in profit in this company. Now take those shares. How many shares did we have? 5 million. Divide them into that, 43 million. What's 5 into 43? It's just a little over 8. 8 what? Oh, I don't know, $8? Folks, MLGO, you do the same thing. Divide their share count into their equity. It's a $10 share, if that's the way you want to figure it out. So as far as I'm concerned, there is room for growth here. That is just one of the telltale signs. Taking a look at the disclosures for Bond. Just real quick, these 6Ks are like, these are the deals. I'm not going through that again. No, I'm not. Lots of deals in these 6Ks, folks. That's what I'm telling you. Here is their financial, a 20F. Now that A at the end tells you it has been amended. Something was wrong with it. May still be wrong. They may have to fix it again. 20F is for international financials, and they are one of the most difficult financials to read because international laws come into play. And there's a lot of it spoke about. So yes, it is the best place to do your due diligence, but it's going to be the most difficult. You may want to stick to news presses. You may want to stick to Google. But if you're going to go into one, use your search bar. Absolutely. You're going to find these things to be 200 pages long. It's ridiculous, the amount of information that they put into them. So let's go take a look at ticker BON. 50% jump today. This should be a decent chart. Okay. All right. Looks like we were playing off the Fibonacci. Let's get rid of that bad boy. We'll get rid of all of our lines. Okay. We got any reverse stock splits here? No. Now, that doesn't mean they haven't had one, right? And did we talk about a reverse stock split? Well, they must have had one. To have the stock down to 5 million shares, we must have had a reverse stock split at some point, folks. And I didn't do a dive here. So you'll want to check on that. But probably because we got a high back here a year ago of $83.75. That just doesn't sit right with me. That just sounds way too high for this company. So I would check to see if they had a reverse stock split. But as you can see, the stock has been in a downtrend, but it's been in a downtrend and a 200 squeeze. She got over the 200 way back here. And this entire time, month after month after month, I'm not saying she's set up in a 200 squeeze, but she is between both 200s. We need her to get on top of the 200 just like that. Now, right here, we could have had a breakout, but normally I don't see the 200 squeeze play out on the daily chart. This is good for the 1 hour, 15 minute, 30 minute, the smaller charts, not the yearly chart, but it is an indicator. It tells you to watch it. So we got up on top here. She's been sitting on top of that 50 for a while, took a dip underneath the 200. I would think maybe a crouch and pounce. Not this time. She fell down hard, took a big rip here, and I'm not quite sure what this rip is about, but she went from, I'm not buying it, $25 up to $72, but you're looking at virtually 80% run, whatever it was. Jumped over a falling 200, which tells you chances are 9 out of 10, it is not going to continue running. Not on a falling 200. It's coming back down. And if it goes too high, chances are it's going to come down lower than where it started, and it did. Boom! Way down here. She started at $25 and fell down here to $2. It's a big drop, folks. And then over here, we are at $1.14, our 52-week low, and she is just now starting to climb in a 200 squeeze. There's our 200 haul, 200 MA. She's on the 20, trying to get on that 50. Our oscillators are showing signs of growing right now. Everything is starting to push up, especially that ADX. Look at that. Wham! Folks, this is an entry. Whenever I see the ADX go hard, parabolic, that to me tells me there's a lot of strength, and it's going to take a little bit of energy to pull that strength down. So that right there is looking really juicy to me. Everything else is climbing as well. Come on down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. Not much to see. Lying flat. What's it look like over here? So we were under the 200 here. We got up on top of everything after hitting that low, and she jumped to and through the 200. Once she went through the 200, she had her pullback, came back down to the 200, jumped again. Now, we got a lot of volatility in this stock. She's unpredictable. She's doing what I want, but she's also doing other things I'm not expecting. But we are still in that 200 squeeze. Then we took a crouch and pounce here. Did we not? This is a crouch, and that is a pounce. She was on top of the 200, came underneath it, fell down here to $1.32, and jumped all the way up to $2.82. You're looking at over 100% run, falling back to 50%. Still a nice gain, but wouldn't it have been nice to take that one? And this is what I say, folks. Whenever you get into a stock that starts to go parabolic, when it starts to run straight up, when the price is getting further and further away from the 9-day MA, don't hold, sell. You want to get back in, wait till it comes back down to the 9, because it's going to come back down to the 9. I assure you of that. So when it starts pushing way away from the 9, sell. When she comes back down, buy back in. You can buy more because you've got more money to buy more. I love that strategy. So right here, we are sitting on that 200 day. She crouched down to the 200 haul. Remember, the 200 haul has as much authority and as much strength as the 200 MA, but it's friendly. And if the price is over the 200 haul, when it turns up, it will give heat, strength to the price. Once it came down to the 200, it bounced off of it because it's a solid wall. It's solid. It jumped from $1.44 initially up to $1.87. She fell back just at the bell and then jumped again after she was on the market a little bit. She jumped from $1.43 back up to $1.84 and then came back down to the 200. She was down there for a while and then ripped. Now look at that rip, folks. That would have been halted had that happened during the day. That would have been stopped, but it isn't going to stop after market. It just keeps going. And this went from $1.50 up to $2.83, all aftermarket, pre-market. Now, if you don't actually play pre-market, aftermarket, you can always set in orders. If you think there's a likelihood a stock could run, draw your supports and resistances and put in a sell order for 50% of what you have at a high price. You may wake up tomorrow and see half of it sold and go, whoa, and it fell back down. And you can go, oh my God, I can buy an extra 200 shares now. I couldn't do that before. Try it. Once you try it and it happens, you're going to love it. So we came down under the 200. We're down there a while. Look at these bounces, folks. This is what I like to see. Bounces every day, pre-market, aftermarket, and especially at the bell. We get these huge bounces at the bell. Holy cow. That was right there at the bell, just before the bell. This is a stock to watch pre-market, folks. She gets a lot of activity. And remember what I said. You get into a stock pre-market, you get out of it pre-market. Do not let greed tell you you're going to get more. That's a lie. You'll get more after you get back in after the bell. Let's take a look. Well, as you can see, our oscillators are pulling down right now, folks. We've got some lag here, but she's still on top of the 9. It doesn't look bad, even though everything is showing signs of falling. I think she's probably going to bounce. Now, if she does come down, she's going to come down to the 20 or the 50 right here. I don't think she's going to go under the 200 and crash. I think we have a change of trend right now. Taking a look at let's come down to the 5-day, 5-minute. Darn, look at those bounces. Boom, 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 boom. I love this. These are the sort of stocks I like to hold. Honestly, you could buy this and right there. She likes to hit that spot. If she comes under it, she likes to hit it. So if you were to buy under here, I'd put a sell order there at $1.90. $1.91 is where it's at. You want to sell under it. Maybe $1.88. Anytime she comes under it, just put in a price at $1.88 and take that gain. Look, she's bouncing on it. So that's a very strong support resistance that I just snagged up right there, $1.88. Right now, she is riding that support. All of our MAs over her head are pushing down. There's a very strong likelihood this is coming back down to the 200 at least. Now, because she shows strength off of that 200, she's probably going to bounce on it. But it's probably not going to be on it. It's going to be under it. Folks, she can't get over all of these unless we have a lot of volume come in, a lot of pushing. These are each holding their own current like water. Think of these as waterfalls on top of her head. How hard is it to come up through all that water pounding on you? So once they go flat and level out, then she can get on them, and then the water pushes her like a Dixie cup on a current, and then she can ride on up. So this doesn't look bad. She's cooling off after a big run, and let's just see here. Out of curiosity, I would normally grab my Fibonacci, poke the very top, poke the very bottom, find the center. The center is our 50% mark. If the price comes underneath the 50, she's normally going to fall down to the next strongest MA. There is our 50 right there. You're not giving it to me. Got to grab the right one. All right, there's our 50 right there. So she hung on to that 50 for a long time. Even after she get under the 200 haul, she still did not fall. She's beating her head on that 200 haul. Right here, when the 200 haul started to roll, she started to roll with it. I told you, she has a lot of authority. She'll probably come down to the other authoritative figure, Ma and Pa, and she'll get a bust in the butt here to probably bounce up. Now, she is right now on the 38 percentage fib. This is a very strong fib. This is one where we do get bounces off of. You normally get climb off the 50. You get your bounces off of your 38s. So I'd be keeping an eye on her right now. Bond does have a lot of interest. Okay, let me come back home. I can hear Mom calling me. John Eric Zidar. Why do your parents use your last name? Don't they know you know your own name? Anything going on over here? Maybe if we're going to sell, I didn't sell any at all. Uh-oh. Yeah. Is that the one with the foreign? No. Trust me, if you paid a fee to get in, you will pay a fee to get out. I actually called my broker, Thinkorswim, because somebody told me they bought shares on Fidelity and it didn't cost them $50 extra. I called my broker, and when I go to buy them, it says, ask your broker if this can be rerouted to eliminate this fee. And I asked, and he said, nope, it's on the OTC. No rerouting with those little itty bitty brokers down there. You can't get that done. If it was on the NASDAQ, we could do it. It's like, c'est la vie. What's this? Yeah. Be careful, folks. When you're buying a stock that's foreign, always look at your fees. There are extra fees cropping up now that I haven't seen before. Extra taxes. What? Taxes on buying stock. Can you imagine that? We're paying tax on stock. They got to draw a line somewhere. They're going to start taxing every step I take, every mile I drive, travel distance. Cut it out. Taxes. Earthworm. I kind of like that name. All right, folks, it's 5:30. Oh, you thought I missed it, didn't you? Fist bump. Boom. I felt yours, buddy. I felt that. Thank you, my friend. I did incorporate stickers, folks, shout outs. If you want to tip me, it's like giving your waiter money. I'm not asking you for it. It's just an open door policy. Everybody likes free money. And I do work hard for it. And I do give a lot of good tips. And maybe one day when you hit hard and you feel generous, I'll be lucky. So, you just wait and be patient. But please hit the like. That tells me for sure that you care about what I do. I do put out a lot of effort for you folks, and I don't mind doing it, but I want to know it's appreciated. That's why I'm divorced. They didn't appreciate me. You better start appreciating me or I can divorce you too. I can. All right, folks, I'm going to call it a day. I do appreciate you. I love having you guys. I've got over 5,000-6,000 on Google, YouTube, 5,000-6,000 on Twitter, and I get 200-300 views. What's that all about? I think maybe that's about the market. In either case, I'm going to be here for you. I'll be here next week, Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. As soon as that bell's going off, I'll be here, whether I just had a trade, good or bad. I'll be smiling for you. I'll see you next week then. See you then. Home Alone.